Hi, I'm Aaron Napier with the student yearbook staff here at the College of the Ozarks. Recently, I was privileged enough to get to interview Dr. Leonard B. Gittinger at his home in Branson. For nearly 20 years, he and his wife Edith have donated a vast amount of time and money to the college, along with performing many tasks for the college, such as creating costumes, providing lighting equipment and audio equipment for the theater department, building a teaching greenhouse for the biology department, and furnishing sewing machines for home economics. They've also purchased a Steinway concert piano for the music department and recently have donated a vast amount of money to build the new Gittinger Music Building. In this interview, you'll get to hear his life story, where he got started, his accomplishments through life, and how he got involved with the College of the Ozarks. So without further ado, this is the interview with Dr. Leonard B. Gittinger. What do you love the most about the College of the Ozarks?
The students.
The students.
The students. I was born in Iowa 92 years ago, almost 93, and raised in Iowa until I went to school, to Harvard. And that was after going to junior college in my hometown. See, during the Depression, the farmers' wives raised poultry and eggs and cream, and they bring it into a central house, and then they process it and send it on east. And so my first job was really popcorn machine in my father's drugstore. But my first job outside of that was a poultry house in my hometown, and I worked there until I went to Harvard. As I say, I went there and was a special student and graduated with honors. I was in New York City office then. I climbed up till I was in the New York office.
Wow. And
then I retired and came down here. So, as I say, the first thing we did was attend one of the plays, and I became enamored first with the students and then with the school. And my happiest years have been the years that I've spent at the School of Ozarks. And I got no pay. It was all free. And I had to pay for the equipment that we used, because money was hard to get in those days. My first job was with the theater. I always looked for the underdog, and the theater wasn't very well thought of in those days, so I worked for them. And then I went to the museum and worked there for Bob Esworthy. And anytime they had a new exhibit coming in and needed a new cabinet to work for, I reached in my pocket and gave it. I get kind of tired of going through the museum because I see my name so much. And during all this time, I was taking classes, and my first teacher was Olson. Yes. Olson. He was my first teacher. Well, I took him first in botany.
Oh wow!
And then I took another course from him, and that was too much for my heart. So they let me just take classes and not tests. Then I took classes with Courtney Furman, and he was one of my three favorite teachers. And then the third teacher, he's no longer here, and this is Cal Allen, and he was in history. What I would do is try and find out who the hardest teachers were, because interviewing the kids, I get the benefit of their knowledge of the teachers. So they'd always tell me who the teachers were the toughest. And those are the ones I wanted to go to. See why they were so tough. It didn't bother me because I didn't have to take tests. Not having to take any tests either, I didn't have to pay any tuition. So I'd always find out what I thought the department needed, and so I'd give it to them as reward for letting me sit in. And so the first gift I gave was to Dr. Olson, the student greenhouse, and for Courtney, I gave a set of religious books. In the music department, I gave Steinway Granular piano. I bought this piano for the music department because the piano that they had was not very good. Professional pianists would come here for a concert and then they would give in return. And I was ashamed to have a professional pianist come here and play on our piano. So I told John Mizell, said, get them a new piano. And so we sent Louie and John to Steinway and got them that piano.
Wow.
But when it came, it was fine, but we didn't have any place to store it. And so it was off of the side and it was getting neglected, and so that made me mad. And so I was talking to Mary Elizabeth about it, and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do about that piano, but I don't like the way it's stored. And so she said, well, we don't either, but we have no place to put it. And I said, well, I'll do something about it. So that was the original thinking about why we have a new music building. So I always felt that I would pay my way, but not through tuition. Edie Mae was a nurse, educated in Iowa, and she came to this town that I lived in as a nurse at the hospital. We met by I being in the hospital, sick, and she was a nurse down the hall, and she would bring me Cokes in the afternoon, and so we got to know each other. And then the doctor and his wife were very good friends of ours, both of ours, and they were our couple that stood up with us when we were married. So then, of course, the school became our prime in life, and she was as much in it as I was. Pay attention to their studies and love their fellow students. Don't give up, but remember God and Christ, the center of your life.